My name is Brooke and I'm the founder of Chimp Treats, and I'm here to talk about food manufacturing. Our product is called an ice cream, and it is like an ice cream but made entirely from bananas. It is a really innovative product, meaning that the composition and the process to make it is very different and very unique, which can be problematic when you're a startup with no money and no manufacturing facility or knowledge of manufacturing. So the way it started was I found a recipe online for banana ice cream, and there were a few issues with it. Mainly, it took so much time to make it beforehand, you had to freeze them, and then you couldn't keep it in the freezer after. But I knew that if people could buy this in a grocery store ready to eat, it would be huge. So that was enough motivation for me to try to figure out a process. So it started with me making it in my kitchen, and that's how most food products start out. And then from there, we used a great resource called the Ontario Agri-Food Venture Centre. Basically, it's a large commercial kitchen, so it meets all of the safety standards that the government sets out, but you can rent it for a half a day or a full day, and you can make your product there and store it there, and they work with you every step of the way. From there, we had a few issues. They didn't really have the equipment that we needed at the time, so we partnered with a local ice cream manufacturer, and we ran our mix through their equipment. And the end product was great, better than what we started with, and it was really well received by the consumer. And on the same day that we got a call from a huge distributor who listed our product, we were ecstatic, and then our manufacturer called us and told us that they couldn't make our product anymore. Their equipment was broken, and it was because of our product. So that whole partnership was up in flames. So the same day we got the best news so far that the biggest food distributor in Canada was going to list our products. We got the news that we didn't have a product anymore because nobody was making it for us. And that was a really, really tough day, maybe one of the toughest so far. We've come close financially to going out of business a few times, but this was a whole nother level of stress because, success was right there. We have all of these orders lined up, and we have all this interest, and now the one partnership that was never an issue has now gone up in flames, basically. So I, collected myself, and I told myself, my favorite quote is that if you're going to be successful, you have to approach Plan F with the same amount of enthusiasm you had for Plan A. And it's hard to do in the moment, but that's what I told myself, and I relied on all of my resources and my advisory board and different mentors that I have, and we went back to the drawing board trying to find a new process, and now we're back at the Food Venture Center with a different process that's more efficient and with the same end product, and we are working together to be able to launch in Whole Foods. If you are an entrepreneur with a food product that you are trying to manufacture, you should know that there are 3 ways that food products are typically manufactured. The first is making it yourself. It could be in your kitchen if you get it certified, which isn't too expensive. Depends on your kitchen, of course, if you can do it. But the liability is all yours to keep up those safety standards, and it can be a lot, and you might find that you quickly reach your capacity and you can't do it anymore, which is a great problem to have, but unless you have a backup, that can leave you in a really tough place with your retailers. The second way to manufacture your food product is to rent a commercial kitchen or kitchen and share. So a lot of startups, just like you, are wanting to make their food product, or maybe they've already went that step and invested in their own manufacturing facility. But they don't quite reach their capacity yet, or they're not in there every day, all day, maximizing the equipment that they do have. In that case, they usually post online, it's not hard to find, that they are willing to rent out their commercial kitchen to another food manufacturer, or there are more formal options like the Ontario Agri-Food Venture Centre that I mentioned, where it is, government funded and a lot more regulated, highest safety standards. You don't have to worry so much about things like that. And while this is great that there is a much lower amount of capital required in order to start making your product, there are a few downsides. The first being priorities. So if it's not your commercial kitchen and it's somebody else's, you're just renting it, if they need to make more product and you have it booked, you get bumped because it's not yours, and it's just kind of the way it works, whoever's been there longer, whoever owns it, they get final say. The other issue being storage. This was huge for me because I need to have bananas everywhere. I need to have them ripening. I need to get them in freezers. I need to bring them out. It was going to take up a lot of room, essentially, and a lot of commercial kitchens don't have storage to give, especially not on that level. So depending on your product, if it's shelf stable, maybe you'll be okay. But if it's frozen, there's not usually a lot of storage options. The third way to manufacture your food product, which I'm currently utilizing, is co-packing. This can actually be co-packing or manufacturing. So basically, it's another company. They already have the equipment that you need, usually, or they'll make an investment so that they can manufacture your product. And they charge you a set amount per unit, and their staff will make it for you. This is great because you don't have to invest in the equipment. You don't have to actually ever touch the product. You don't have to worry about hiring staff, managing them, payroll, anything like that. You just pay for the product and you get it. And of course, it costs a little bit more money for that to have the highest safety standards and all of that knowledge and great staff. But it really is worth it because big chains like that, if that's your end goal to get your product into, they have very strict requirements and they won't accept products that aren't made in certified facilities. Manufacturers are great, but if you're in a co-packing agreement, it means that you're partners and you share liability. So if one of their workers makes a big mistake and all of my product melts, they don't refund me the money because we're partners and it's shared risk. So then I'm out all of that money. And that's the biggest downside, I think. But really, in terms of liability, they usually have much more sanitary and safe environments than anything that you could have in your own space or in a shared commercial kitchen. Finding a co-packer can be the most difficult part of manufacturing your food product because everybody is looking for a co-packer for their food product. And they get so many applications every day for new product submissions, which is great, but a lot of people are following a lean startup model, probably like you, where they don't want to invest in their own facility, and they probably shouldn't until they test the market, which just means that you need to have something unique, and you need to be able to convince the person you're going to be speaking to that you are a good investment for them to be making. To find a co-packer, I recommend going through your Business Advisory Center, OMAFRA, or your personal network to try to get a personal introduction to the organization you're going to be speaking to. I know it's a lot of information and a lot to process because there are so many key players that you need to incorporate, and it was really daunting for me when I got started. So my advice would be to rely on your resources and the organizations you're a part of, and especially your mentors. Map it all out, your whole business model, everybody who needs to play a part in this that you need to bring together, and run the numbers over and over and over again until you're making enough money and everybody else is taking as much as they need. So you'll have it all mapped out and you'll be well on your way to success.